I made a self-promise to when I was a little kid. I promised myself that I would never leave the gym a loser. I learned about life in the gym. Everything I know about life, I learned at the squat rack. I learned how to fail in the gym. I learned how to fail and fall on my face many, many times that you never read about. And I keep getting up. People say, yeah, you were lucky. But luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I mean, I trained for years and years and years and years. I wasn't talented. I wasn't talented in bodybuilding. I didn't have any genetics. Forget about genetics. To hell with genetics. I will not be a victim to my genetics. I don't care. I don't care. I don't have a small waist. To hell with it. But God gave me the leg thing. I didn't like squatting at all, to tell you the truth. It's scary. Your hands sweat and you're nervous and you get kind of anxious. But I'm addicted to the feeling afterwards. After a squat workout, doing 500, 400 pounds for reps, your life passes in front of your eyes and you succeed. It's like, life is great. The sky is blue, the grass is green, and life is absolutely wonderful. I'm in a great mood for a week later. There's nothing you can't do. Nothing you can't do in this gym if you really want to. Nothing you can't do in this gym if you really want to. And there's nothing you can't do out there if you really want to. If you really want to. If it's like breathing to you, you'll find a way to get it done. That's what I put into what I do. I don't just squat for reps and I can do 10. If I have 50 in me, by God, I'm gonna do 50. Does drugs make a superstar athlete or bodybuilder? Is there drugs in bodybuilding? Sure. Is there drugs in sport? Sure. Does that make a superstar athlete? No. Drugs doesn't make a superstar. A superstar makes a superstar. I don't even think it's genetics. I often think, wait, it's not genetics, it's an attitude. It's a belief system that makes a superstar. Your attitude will take you much further than any genetics. Your attitude will take you much further than any genetics. And I mean that. Okay. Come on. Do it. Harder. Come on. Forward.
Promise yourself you'll be the best fucking person you can be. That is what makes you train. That is what makes muscles grow. Nobody fucking knows the secret. That is it. And that feeling like you have to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Elusive.
Stigma. Can't be my friend if you really ain't sin. a baddie and she know I'm him. I put it on, you know I came in trim. Rich on Snapchat, I got Libby on my DM. I got big racks, I ain't never gonna end. Now I'm driving fast in the AMG Benz. You saw me drive past, now you calling your friend. You calling my phone, you want me, I know. You follow me around everywhere I go. Made up money, I'm a Sigma. Now they saying with the Sigma. Diamonds on my body since a year I've been froze. Take her to Miami, she's a long way from home. Different time zones, I'm a fuck that don't end. I got me an M, I'm gonna get it and get it. With a baddie and she know I'm him. I put it on, you know I came in trim. Rich on Snapchat, I got Libby on my DM. I got big racks, I ain't never gonna end.
You make me work. You want them rappers? What you got? You got a Rolex or something?
We got real young
Audio.
OGs black him out, talk some shit.
I'm 6 Mile, finna bust a quarter breakdown. Ride through the hood with 3 guns and 26 dollars. They said some dumb shit out her mouth, slapped the spit out it. Middleman the 9 pieces off until the zip out it. 2200 for my pants, I got a drip problem. I've been toting guns since I was 12, I got a hip problem. Like Rio, what you make off features? Probably $6. And distro kids say 300 racks, I made an improv.
I'm like real all bad hoes to the front, weak hoes to the back. Petty ain't no cap, step on these, I'ma overreact. Mask off, hawk a nigga down, letting you know that just that I'm really he ain't like that type of nigga you smoking a pack. That big bitch will put you on the ground where Gophers is at. Current load, I sent it to your bitch, niggas know where we at. Ain't no lag, they like 3Z3, really known for the strap. Go blow a bag, you bitch niggas is only just known for the
I
cap.
was probably chillin' in your bitch living room, smoking black. Hey bro, that pint hit, that's why I sealed, don't open it. I got a whole baby on me right now, where's stroller? Oh, they shooting up cribs, we could play that game, where the controller? Touchdown, tryna book my own shows, where the promoters? Ashy hands from the Benz, I'm bringing out wearing lotion back. Dumb nigga wasn't tryna use his head, nice and hole. I pray to God them bitches don't pop the trunk, 200 bows in there.
Another one.
Oh yeah! Look at you! You was popping all that good shit a second ago, then you got kicked in your chest!
Audio.
We got the good ship, the love movements here right now in effect. Sunday Fun Day. NBC The Game, Gabriel Alexander Carbo, Blaxican in Taiwan, District 13 Shaolin. We're here. This is the Wizard of Oz broadcast. Do Buddhists believe that non-duality is correct? We shall see. We shall see. Shout out to Akakimos 83 Bay Area. It's not my job. I don't do that. I'm a streamer / t-shirt. That's what we do. You know what I mean? Yo, what is going on, family? What's going on? Non-duality. Shout out to Alchemo 83 for sure. He really made me get nostalgic bringing up Mac Dre. The Mac named Dre. Yeah, man. Here's a comment. Best street doc I ever seen. I love that Bay Area. I was huge into Mac Dre back in the day. Yeah. He is definitely a Bay Area treasure. Well, y'all are treasures too, in your own unique ways, right? Yeah, what are we here to do? We're just here to learn about some non-duality and whatnot. You know? Non-duality. All that good stuff. Non-duality. Sigma. Want that music on? Yeah, I like that music, that Tribe Called Quest. It's the love movement. My pad and my pen. We kick it with it then. Diamond Consciousness. Shout out to London. Ooh. My little friend, my spirit animal, Mr. Peepers in the house. Like a diamond in the sky, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. So, non-duality. What is non-duality? Yeah, I mean, it's something that I found when I hit the bottom of the rabbit hole back in 2012. The Return of Quetzalcoatl. And I found this tool on non-duality, which basically lit up everything I did. It wasn't like a way of life, a religion. It was literally a tool that lit up everything I was fucking with. Yeah. So what are you denying when you hear the term non-duality? That's what I was rotating on this whole week. Because it seems like everything we do has something you have to give up if you're doing it right? Yeah, where's everyone? Good question. I think some of the Machine Lies chats on over here at NPC the Game Live, and he seems to go on every Sunday. Going on every Sunday for me, Saturday night for him, and it's usually around the same time, I've noticed. So where is everyone? I guess they're over there or on their way. You know, they're fashionably late, we could say. So let's get the party going, Chemo. 83. Yeah? Let's do it. Non-duality, huh? One example I like to rotate on is non-duality concept of bipolar, the bipolar concepts such as like rich or poor, good or evil. And also like rich or poor definitely seems to be two different concepts that anybody with half a brain can wrap their head around, right? But they're really not separate because you can't have one without the other. If you don't understand what poor means, you don't know what rich means, and vice versa. So if you grew up in that slum in Mumbai, and you grew up right next door in that 40-story penthouse on the top floor, you definitely know what rich and poor is, right? That's non-duality. It's the same. It's the same on different scales. Same scale. Same scale, different extremes, expressions, right? Over here in District 19, which became District 13 last week, after the earthquake we had, Taiwan, definitely it's kind of hard to see rich or poor because it's pretty much everything aesthetically looks the same. But in India, you really see that separation, you know. It's actually, it may seem like abstract logical point to make that, non-duality, rich or poor, the bipolar nature. But psychologically, it's important because if the most important thing in your life, for example, is being rich, it means that you're definitely preoccupied with poverty, and you're afraid of being poor. You know, that's all you think about, man. It's the equalizer, as our friend Kima said. Yeah. It's people that worry all the time about their partner cheating on them. They might end up manifesting that. You worry about losing their job, they're just over broke. They might end up manifesting that. They're preoccupied with that. Oh man, in this world we live in, with filth everywhere, all the crime, another polarity to rotate on is that bipolar non-duality concepts of pure versus impure. Like, suppose you're like the most important thing in your life for you is to live a pure life, and whatever purity means to you, that's up for you to figure out. But let's just walk with me right now. That purity that goal of purity would imply that you're going to live your life preoccupied with impurity, because you'll need to be constantly looking out for impure thoughts and acts. Since the meaning of each of these concepts are negating the other when you think about them constantly. And to live purely is to avoid impure things. And they really only have meaning in relation to each other. Once Adam and Eve got the concept, the download, the program of critical thinking, observation, they realized they were naked. But before that, they were indistinguishable from clothes and being naked. That's a non-dual bipolar nature of that of those two concepts. One without a second, non-duality. Comment from Alkimos83. None becomes one, and one becomes none again, and so forth and so forth. Right? Constantly. It's in purity and purity. It's really a good example of how seeing the world in terms of such bipolarities creates problems for one who engages in such. It's one of the ways folks blind themselves from what's really going on, and they end up binding themselves with a rope. Metaphorical rope, to use that Zen expression. Yesterday we were reading this Zen book of narratives, and one of the Chan masters said that true purity is to live beyond the duality of purity and impurity. I would say just being the flow state, right? But maybe the most problematic version of these bipolar concepts is literally good and evil, because again, you can't have one without the other, because good is what is not evil, and evil is what is not good. I mean, even historically, good versus evil seems to be the fundamental polarity of all the Abrahamic religions and traditions, especially Christianity and Islam. Because when you think about it, if God is all good, you have to find a separate evil influence in order to explain why there's so much suffering in the world. So you would see how the program of Satan would be invented, or original sin in the Garden of Eden. Because from there, that's the jump off point, and the world can be seen as the site of great struggle between the forces of good and evil. All those forces that oppose the good are concentrated on even more than good even. You end up with all these historical heresy trials, burning witches at the stake, executing political dissidents, and suppressing religions that are seen as demonic and pagan. All kinds of weirdo shit. Yeah. Oh, shout out to my soul sister, Special K, One Love. We're building with friends. The party don't end. Shout out to Jay. Chi-Town. Stand up. Special K with the comment. If there was no bad, you wouldn't know good. Balance the yin and yang. Absolutely. She sees it. She sees it. He sees it. Mr. Peeper sees it. Look at him. He's just chilling. Comment from Chemo83. The Spanish Inquisition was the start of the big pharma. Right? Yeah. The Inquisition. What a show. The Inquisition. Here we go. The Inquisition. You'll be burned away. Cause the Inquisition's here. Big Pharma. Big Pharma, man. That's a nasty motherfucker right there. Don't get me wrong, they got some stuff that can help you out in sticky situations, but the way they're doing their mischief with the vaccines and whatnot, without any oversight or legal people not be able to take legal action against mispractice. Not a good look, fam. Herbs versus chemicals. We'll take the herbs, you take the chemicals. Even when you take the herbs, though, you gotta be in moderation. I took my Chinese medicine herbs this morning, feeling good. Got some energy. Shout out to Special K with the comment. Gabriel and Rebecca in the house. Back at you, Benjamin. Love to the fam. Absolutely. Oh, it's my other Rebecca. What's going on, Rebecca? Always a pleasure. There we go. Everyone's coming in now. All right. Shout out to Rebecca. Reset the topic. Do Buddhists believe that non-duality is correct? Yeah, I mean, of course they do. That's part of their basic teachings. Early Buddha. Even before him. Good to see you, Gabriel. Okay, everyone. Akia. We got this. We got this. Oh, that's the Becks. Oh, wow. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because the whole concept of duality causes us to frame our world so that we split things up into separate sides. But that's not the only type of non-duality. There are many examples if you really think about it. Such as the non-duality of samsara and nirvana. And in some of those Mahayana Buddhist traditions, that's the foundation. Even in the early Buddhism, the word, this world we're living in is seen as samsara, a realm of suffering. Right? You heard about that. Everything is suffering. About craving and disillusions. And the goal is to escape by achieving liberation, Nabina, and not even being reborn here again, getting off the wheel of karma. We talked about this stream, Shadow Buddha, in a hello stream, archons as Buddhist diva angels, prison planet theory, right? Jumping off the wheel of karma, never to come back again, turning your back to the light. If you really look into some of these early Buddhist philosophers like Nagarjuna, he comes along and says that the place that's actually samsara is the same place that is nirvana, heaven, or Jannah if you're Islamic. There's no difference. There's no differentiation. So then you're like, how can I understand the relationship between samsara and nirvana then if it's the same thing? Well, we use these concepts in order to point to things. That sounds contradictory, but in order for me to probably like kind of have you walk with me even closer, I gotta tell you a little bit about Nagarjuna, who was one of the forefathers of Mahayana Buddhism. And in my view, he's probably the most important person in the Buddhist traditions after Buddha. And he was Nagarjuna, that is. He was the first to emphasize sunyata, which is the term that usually we translate into English as emptiness. And he's probably most famous for his denial of any duality between nirvana and samsara. And what he's pointing out, I think, is that we shouldn't be seeking nirvana in some other place, and that there are other ways of experiencing this world right here and now. We're here in the stream, right? You have people that love you. The way when I'm talking to my students about this type of concept is I usually put it in that the world is as we normally experience it. It's literally been psychologically and socially and even linguistically constructed. And as we grow up, we learn to see the world in the way that everyone else does. However, we don't realize that's what's happening. We think we're seeing reality itself. And Nagarjuna was quick to say that, in effect, what you can do is actually deconstruct this usual way of perceiving the world and experiencing it in a different way, shifting your paradigm by realizing something else about it. And an alternative experience would involve that the non-self and emptiness be rotated on in your consciousness. The emptiness. Shout out to Uncle Fatty in the house. Much love indeed, for sure. Grooves in the heart. Groove is in the heart. This beat is so sick. I love it. This Tribe Called Quest. I mean, all this stuff is cool to learn about: non-duality, Buddhism, existentialism, high magic with a K. But like, what good is it if you can't relate it to your life here, your practical life? I was like, how does a person apply the teachings of non-duality in their life? Because I mean, these readings and concepts are fascinating to think about. But sometimes it seems like the application of them are a bit more complicated and complex than actually just executing it. I think the first thing we can do is ask yourself honestly, how do you, not just you, but all of us will say, how do you actually transform our usual way of experiencing the world? And this is why when meditation comes in, I think. In my understanding of the spiritual path, it's that it involves deconstructing and reconstructing how we experience the world, including ourselves. Because this world includes our senses and then our sense of self is literally constructed by the way we think about it and act in it. So when we let go of the way we learn to think about it, which can happen when you're meditating, when you're focusing, I mean, you start experiencing things differently. You start looking at yourself as maybe an action figure, this I that we're always talking to with our language machine. And then reconstruction touches on what I think is the true meaning of karma, cause and effect. Karma involves transforming our motivations because they're critical in causing us to experiencing the world in a certain way that we're used to. Yeah, because as you can see, your motivations affects your perception. What I've learned in my engagement with Buddhism is that it teaches you, if you're willing, it teaches you to be motivated by what's true and not be motivated by the poison. You know, poison can be seen as greed and hatred and disillusion. Because when you do that, you're just creating bad karma. And ultimately, dukkha, suffering, is in effect, is literally someone who's motivated by greed or hatred and disillusion and lives in a different world than someone who is motivated by generosity. The love movement, right? Kindness, wisdom, all that good stuff. A thief sees people as marks to steal from. A spiritual teacher that engages with Buddhism sees the Buddha nature in everybody and everything. If we just start to transform our motivations, which literally are determining how we relate to other people in the world, we'll start to experiencing the world differently. It's not rocket science, I guess. Seeing the light. Yeah, comment from Uncle Fatty. It's all a matter of perspective. An attitude of gratitude can always be found with the shift in perspective. It helps. Definitely helps. Comment from Kay. You can't ever unsee something that you were told doesn't exist. Hey now. Comment from my brother Shadow Buddha. Shout out to the big homie MPC. What's going on, family? We got that Tom Platz in the beginning. Never give up consciousness. Mogging out in the gym is the way to go. Get strong, men and women. I mean, just study yourself. That's what Buddha was saying, right? Keep it simple. KISS, KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Just study yourself. Because when you study yourself, is to forget yourself. Right? You start being disinterested in the I, in the self, and start opening up your consciousness to everything around you. Yeah, because you really start not putting yourself in top priority. Of course, you need to do your basic responsibilities to maintain strength and health. But when you stop focusing on that I so much, you start to be intimate with your non-dual nature, which is the literally the 10,000 things that are in front of you in the world as I'm speaking right now, as you're listening. The goal can be seen as to forget yourself as you become literally one with something, such as if you're listening to some binary beat or holding your loved one tight. By concentrating with all your heart on what you're focusing on, that dualistic sense of the self that is always present starts to dissolve after a while. You just let it go. Literally open yourself up to non-self and emptiness. I mean, but there's all kinds of different ways you can meditate. There's that non-dual practice of awakening where it's not a means necessarily of the goal of enlightenment. It's more of forgetting yourself. Because literally the duality that we tend to get caught up in gets caught up between the practice and the goal. The means and the end, you could say. I mean, once you start getting we're talking about Buddhism, but once you start getting the sense of different types of non-duality and different types of Buddhism, then you start to recognize it in other spiritual tradition. I mean, there's a lot of similarity in the Advaita, Vedanta, Hindu, non-dual, and Mahayana Buddhism, and even Taoism, the way, you know? Because viewed from a non-dual perspective, they seem to be pointing to the same alternative way of experiencing the world. Alternative way of experiencing the world. It is kind of comforting and heartwarming to know that many of the so-called religions have the same human concern and approach to life that's non-dual, one without a second. but I don't want to like oversimplify it here, and it would be kind of be misleading to say that all of the many religions are teaching the same thing. However, non-duality is pretty much a master concept that can help all of us resonate and communicate with what's most important, which is being here now. I mean, in the Abrahamic religion, there's the teachings of Meister Eckhart and the Cloud of Unknowing, and then there's Rumi, is one of them. That are, when you look at the core of what they're pointing at, is very non-dual. I mean, they definitely have their own traditions and vocabularies and different ways of pointing to this universal truth, one without a second. But people, they tend to get over-identified with terminology of their own religion or philosophy and end up mistaking their mode or practice for what they're trying to achieve. When you have other traditions that seem to be experiencing something similar, but in a different language, it can be helpful to know that at its core or at its highest tier, they're talking about the same thing, non-duality. What's good, Joe Cool? Good to see you, man. Do Buddhists believe that non-duality is correct? Absolutely. All these religions, more or less, are pointing to the fact that the reality is non-dual, meaning one without a second. It just is. We're all connected. But we do have duality so we can communicate with each other. It's kind of weird, huh? Like, kind of, we said this, but then we say that. That's the thing about Zen. I mean, this is one thing I've been doing because I like comparative religions and studying different things, a la Joseph Campbell. Because it does seem like that if you hold this non-dualistic perspective by reading other teachings from different traditions, you might be able to access more of the wisdom. Think about this, like, I like to, when I'm really out there, I like to talk about the duality between things, like including like you and me and time, because we usually think of time as something external to us that we're in, because that way of understanding time is a social construct, and it's often necessary, right? Because I mean, we showed up here at 9 to parlay this stream. That social construct of time, that's how we coordinate with each other. However, it's also a source of suffering too, because we can feel trapped by what time seems to be doing to us. All you got to do is look in the mirror to be reminded about aging and that inevitable end that implies. But the reality is that we're not in time because we are time. Our nature is temporal, which simply means we're not things. We're bundles of, I guess you could say, physical and mental processes wound up interconnected. And when you start to think about and perceive these things not in a non-dual perspective, these processes, the past is not something that falls away, and the future is definitely not something that's coming. Then we're literally living in what is sometimes called the present. I'm going to call it the eternal present. Etymologically, the term eternity means without being and without end. What is without being and without end? It's always the now. That's what it is. It's the present. It's a gift. But you know what? We usually overlook that and experience the present as something that is constantly falling away, becoming the past, because we're always reaching for something that's not now, that's not in the future. We're obsessed with grabbing at something that we think is going to fill up our sense of lack, and always rejecting what is now for what will be in the future and missing out what's here. This non-duality between things, including us and time, is what some of the great sages were pointing at when they talked about being time. Comment from Bex. Death was the last invention. Death is the only thing people seem to think is certain. Question everything. Clearly does not apply here. I gotta bring him up on that one. That's pretty heavy. No old age and death, no end of old age, no death. That's the mantra. Combat that. What would it actually mean to become non-dual with your own death? How do you feel with that notion? How do you free yourself from birth and death when you're about to die? Now that's something to rotate on. Yeah, to me though, like the most interesting example of non-duality is self and other, right? Because when you really look inside and see that you're actually nothing, that's wisdom. I'm not saying to be a doormat or anything, but you don't even know what you actually are. Because when I separate the sense that there's an I that's inside and the world is outside, it's the most fundamental and problematic duality, which causes most of the suffering, we could say, huh? And there are different aspects to non-duality and duality. Taoism has this concept of Wen-Wei, literally the action of non-action. And it describes what it's like when you forget your sense of self and become one with action. Carlos Castaneda called it not doing. Don Juan Mateus, the shaman. Like, for example, because you like, I love basketball. Because basketball players who sometimes get on fire, he's on fire. They start hitting threes left and right. Every jumper's going in. Even their defense, they're getting steals. They're in the flow. They're flowing. They're in the flow state, in the zone. I mean, they're scoring almost every time they shoot. They're literally one with their body. There's like no longer a sense of self inside that. Manipulating the body, muscle memory. That spontaneously is a kind of physical non-duality. I mean, take dancing. I love to dance. Because when you're self-conscious, dancing is difficult. You're literally trying to make the right moves. You're trying to avoid making the wrong step. You're thinking about people watching you make a mistake. But when you may have a little drink, get a little courage juice, get nice, as we say, and you get relaxed, all of a sudden you're not doing the dancing. The dancing is doing the dancing. How can you tell at that point the dancer from the dance? You literally forget yourself and you're becoming one with what you're doing, at least for a little while anyway. Comment from Bex. Muscle memory. I watched a bunch of 50s skaters today. Wow, those guys are fit. Yeah. Muscle memory also to know how to twist an ankle and hurt themselves. That's legit. Duality. El Perro, what's up? How's it going, Keith? Good to see you. Duality of personal and professional. What's your profession? Comment from K. Flow state of meaning, dancing, going with the flow. That, like, no one's watching. You don't have to think about dancing a certain move. It just goes with the rhythm. You know what's coming next. Been there, huh? You see it. At least for me, when I'm dancing, and like you said, Gabriel, when you start to think about it, it's not going to go with the rhythm. It's going to throw you off. Yeah, and then you'll be right back where you started. Until you're not that way again. Another example of subject-object non-duality is what I call non-dual thinking. Because thinking can be problematic, at least in the Buddhist tradition way of looking at it, because it's often considered bad after all. Concepts are what you should let go of when you're meditating. And there is some important truths right there. Because it's our usual ways of thinking that construct and maintain our usual ways of experiencing the world. And you are experiencing the world as an artist, knowingly or unknowingly. So what about creativity? There have been many great composers. For example, they say the same thing, that the melody or theme just appeared to them, got downloaded to them. They didn't consciously compose it. Even rappers and poets make the same point about the words and metaphors that spontaneously arise in their works. I'm seeing that the deepest creativity is not the product of the senses or the sense of self. The first test stream vlog I had was practice. We're talking about practice. The goal of our practicing these non-dual exercises is not to get rid of thinking, but to liberate thinking. To think more deeply and creativity. Excuse me. And think more creatively. So your homework is to investigate some of those dualities in your own life. Just by doing that, you probably can bring yourself to some liberation. That's an easy exercise. If you start experiencing some of those non-dualities, it's more likely that you'll start experiencing other types of non-dualities as well. They're all connected. We're all connected. Literally, our collective non-duality is with the earth. Some people will tell you that climate change and carbon footprints are the vehicle that the New World Order will use to enslave you even more. But there is something to be said about treading lightly here on Earth. I think a lot of our fellow humans, they feel separated from the rest of the biosphere. People think that they're superior over other creatures, and I get it. Like, you know, Adam named all the creatures and had dominion over them, you know. But some people just abuse that gift that God gave us, so much so that they see the earth as just a collection of material resources for us to exploit. That duality is becoming dangerous, not only for us, but for other species. You probably won't be able to fix this way of thinking without a non-dual. You won't be able to fix that type of thinking with a dualistic way of thinking. You have to go non-dual and see how we're connected, one without a second. I'll set the panel up right now, but let me tell you something about Mr. Buddha. Got the leopard print in the house. Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Oh yeah, we're cooking here. I got the link. We got the link. Yeah. I got time today. Yeah. In the Buddhist narrative, after he attained enlightenment, the demon god Mara appeared and challenged Buddha by asking him, who conferred your awakening? Who gave you the authority? And Buddha did some cool shit. He didn't say anything. He just reached out, touched the earth. Mara said, what did you mean? Well, that does reminded me of one of the oldest problems in Buddhism, that if there's really no self, who or what becomes enlightened? Could we say that the earth is what's waking up and becoming more conscious? We're literally part of the earth, nature. Our bodies are composed of the same chemicals that compose all other living beings, living and non-living. Our species is just one of the many species that the Most High manifests through Earth. I think it's time to wake up to these truths and look at the way we live. I'm going to start with myself today. We'll go from there. Hold on. Groove out. I don't know much about Buddhism either. I just know what I know. Hopefully you can take something from it. I know you can because you're smart. And you have a good heart, most importantly. So the link's in the chat. And in the meantime, in between time, let me cut you up to speed on my first, one of my first streams on non-duality. Taiwan. What is duality? First of all, what is non-duality? Let's describe non-duality. It's simple. Duality is the idea that you're two. You being separate from others. A separate self with an outside world. Non-duality means you're not two. When you have a dream, this is duality. And at night, when you wake up and realize that everyone in your dream was actually just a part of your own consciousness and not actually a separate person from you. That's non-duality in a nutshell. We're all part of the same invisible field of consciousness. The world and all you experience
is within you. You are consciousness, and what can appear as many drops of water from different streams, it's all connected together into one. The flowers, the bees are completely inseparable. The earth and you are not separate. Your neighbor is part of you. All the people are in you. The dog is in you. The cat is in you. The plastic bag floating in the breeze is you. It's all you.
Welcome to the AI Carnival of the Ages, where past and present collide in a retro-futuristic spectacle. Feast your eyes on the dazzling Earth computer, a floating orb that'll whisk you away to base reality. As you wander through our timeless attractions, marvel at the fusion of turn-of-the-century charm and cutting-edge innovation. Experience the magic of our surprising delight for people of all ages. Plug into simulated realities with our domed VR fashionable headsets, immersing yourself in a myriad of captivating worlds within our different reality simulator observatories. And for a nostalgic touch, enjoy a ride on our authentic vintage Earth train, a testament to the wonders of bygone eras. Where imagination knows no bounds and memories are made to last a lifetime. So come along, plug in and tune out as you soar, spin, and plunge through lifetime.
You as consciousness have direct experience of dreaming. All kinds of dreams that arise into you, then dissolve back into consciousness. Test dream is why we call it test dreaming. Dreamings turn time bound and thus duality when we don't rest frequently and often in deep sleep without dreaming. We are forming unformed consciousness because it is in the deep sleep without dreaming, the uncreated state of being, that we purify consciousness of all past dreams. And then of a purified consciousness arises a dream that is timeless and thus full of miracles, unending goodness for all beings in the dream. The uncreated state of being, deep sleep without dreaming, is called reality because it's an infinite field of emptiness. It's unchanging, which dreams arise into being and dissolve back into nothingness. We call this reality, not reality, not reality, not reality. It really doesn't matter. So best thing we can say is, as consciousness is to rest frequently and often in the infinite bliss and peace of deep sleep without dreaming, and then to be awareness of timeless dreams of miracles, unending goodness for all the beings in the dream.
Imagine a public access religious TV show, a surreal blend of the sacred and the absurd. Picture Jesus, a figure with a head too large, a motley that borders on the grotesque. A scene not too dissimilar from the Teletubbies, yet steeped in religious symbolism. This isn't your typical Sunday service, it's the Jesus Variety Hour, a unique spectacle where the divine meets the ridiculous. Satan makes an appearance too in this peculiar public access production, adding a dash of controversy to the mix. And don't forget the stage dancers, their movements punctuating the show with their rhythm. A cheap set, yes, vulgar perhaps, but it's fun, it's grotesque, it's unapologetically different. This is the nostalgia of the 1960s, reframed through the lens of a religious variety show, a slice of history worth remembering.
Duality is a layer of delusion on top of non-duality, and there's no contradiction. If it's understood correctly, it's like seeing a rope in the dark and thinking it's a snake. And then when you look closer and you see it for what it is, it's just a rope. It's also important not to conflate epistemologically dualities with experiential ones. We can have dualities when discussing these concepts, like wisdom and ignorance, duality and non-duality, and so on. Experientially, there's no duality to be found.
Good news. The good news is, all this time you've been thinking and believing that you're just a person, that you're just this body and mind in this world. But luckily, the real you is so much more than that. And all of your worries and fears cannot ultimately harm you and are not ultimately real. Non-duality addresses three things. Number one, how to stop suffering. Number two, how to find lasting peace and happiness. And number three, what is the true nature of reality? But that's for those who want to go a bit deeper. With non-duality, you don't actually have to learn anything new that you don't already know deep down in your heart. It's that non-duality is trying to make you remember who or what you really are.
Focus can be shift for sure. Your brain wouldn't burst. I mean, actually, it would burst if you were asked to interpret all the perceptions at the same time. What could be a more concrete, specific way of awareness revealing itself than whatever it's being revealed to in this moment? Whether it's focusing on your thoughts or sensations or breathings, it's still going to express itself and reveal itself to you. I mean, what is here now? Hasn't it been revealing it to ourselves constantly? But not in a necessarily concrete, specific way. Everything is still guessing and dreams. You might ask, how can you experience something you haven't been separated from, even for an instant? Well, you can shift your awareness away from thoughts and send that sensation of the breath to your nostrils, for instance, and this focus on that. It's always been there. Because my personal experience, prescription for figuring out what perspective is it's the thinking about it as a ripple effect. I'm the person who I am right now based on every interaction, choice, stimuli, and experience I've ever had. And with these interactions with others, those would only happen exactly the way they did best, based on every interaction, every choice, every stimuli, every experience that had ever been. It continues to ripple out from there. And if only one thing changed, you wouldn't be the exact person you are or I am today. No one knows there's no duality, though. No one really knows.
Yeah. What kind of foolish? I'm a different type of fool. Could you fool? Could you fool a fool? Could you fool a fool with a tool? What you do? Would you do? Would you do? What you do if you do too? What I do? What I did? What I do? What I see? What I saw? What it do, nigga? What you do? Eat food for a gun shoe.
Non-duality is a lie. In fact, its very first tenet is that words cannot express truth. So then, is it a lie that it's a lie? Non-duality is a lie. In fact, its very first tenet is that words cannot express truth. So then, is it a lie that it's a lie?
Well, let's think about that. I mean, if there's a person with a brain that's not selfing, quotation mark, does that not mean that the person knows that things are non-dual, not conventionally speaking, nor on a deeper level either? It is simply the absence of the sense of separate self. I mean, did you know a minute ago in any meaningful sense that you're not on the moon right now and you're listening to this? And I think where it gets confusing is that people are saying that to you like they know whether non-duality is here or not. I can only honestly say that I don't know this. I'm trying to communicate the sense of an inability to get a foothold to nowhere. I can only point at these things. If there's no foundation, there's no foundation from which no one can know there's no foundation. Anything said about this is nonsense, really. Let me try one last way. What people are pointing to is the loss of something, not the gain of anything. There's nothing to gain. As for metaphysically questions and asking, no one knows anything, even contextually speaking. No one knows. Such a bunch of fools.
Same things I'ma do to you, nigga. Do to you, nigga. Shoot you, nigga. Nigga, playing with a fool. Playing with a fool. You playing with a fool. With a tool, with a tool. You playing with a fool, with a fool, with a fool, with a tool, with a tool. I'm a fool with a few screws loose.
I mean, you are a fool with a fool from screws loose, you know? This is it. I mean, how do you know there's no duality? You can create as many imaginary separations as you like. You can decide that your right arm is a separate thing from your left arm, or you can see that they're both inseparable parts of your body. The separations are just thoughts or concepts that define a chunk of reality as something separate. But none of it's separate. There are no definite separating lines you can draw that have more meaning or reality than the others that are set in different places. Many people refer to this place or simulation as an illusion, that a dualistic world of things and subject-object relationship is a mental construction. And as for there being one consciousness, well, that works the same way. However, if one that can only be seen, ironically, subjectively through self-inquiry to see that the fundamental self that you are cannot be anything other than that which sits behind every personality and view of reality.
With a foul crew to shoot, disgrace you, man, misplaced, hate, face it, man, misplaced, hate, face it, man. You would do the same if you was insane. You would do the same if you was insane. Gangsters is insane, nigga. If you had a mama like mine, you would not be a lame. You would not be a lame, nigga. All in the fame, all in the fame, all in the fame. You a lame, you a lame. Could you fool a fool with a tool, with a tool? What would you do? What you do if you knew too what it did, what I do to you, did to you? Shoot, disgrace you, misplace you, disrespect dialects, nigga. I am fucking
motherfucking different on some other shit. That's why you can't. That's why you ask, can there be more than one? When you know, you can see, you will see that there's not anything else that can be different to it. There isn't anything that isn't it. And even if there's only one, why must it be one with the material world? And as you reach a realization that there's no reason to draw a line between mind and matter, that too is another arbitrary line. But again, engaging with the whole non-duality hypothesis does that not mean gaining a belief in these things. It means exploring teachings and engaging in practices that help you consider letting go of other overly firm beliefs that stop you from seeing what is actually here. This is the Book of Gabriel. We're trying to see what's actually here by using negation.
Motherfucking different on some other shit. Could you fool a fool with a tool? What you do if you knew too what it do?
Could you fool a fool? What's up, Wild Man Ninja? What's up, my good friend? How are you? Good to see you.
Use rules with a tool, shoot. Rule with a foul crew, tool, nigga, shoot. Disgrace, misplace, hate, face it. Place, face, hate, man. Say.
Misplaced hate, man. The Duality Trap, episode 56 of the Book of Gabriel. The illusion of having a choice. And how do you know for certainly there's duality? If there's no duality in reality, then the problem is you think there is. This perception of what is false, the problem with duality is that there's nothing really real that says there's separation. You have to point to your experiences to evaluate the claims that are here, claiming that the simulation is separation and separation is separation. We always use this analogy, and I'm playing the PS5 quite a lot lately. It's like you're playing a video game, which is obviously a fictional world to you. Someone outside the limits of that game, however, everyone in that game appears real. You can't even really know it isn't real unless they step beyond the game. However, the characters themselves are also illusions within the game. They ain't real either.
Nigga, you would do the same if you was the same. Gangsters is the same. You would do the same if you was the same. Gangsters is the same. If you had a mama, you would be a lame. You would not be a lame. Streets is a lady, man. Hug me, baby, hug me. Streets is a lady. Streets is a lady. Streets is a lady. Streets is a lady.
The streets is a lady. That's why you can't believe in non-duality when everything about you is operating as if duality is real. It'll be denying yourself of your core beliefs. It's like having a dream and believing it's a dream, however, not actually seeing it's a dream. If you believe it's a dream without seeing it, you will have cognitive dissonance. You'll think you see it as a dream when in reality you don't. You believe in duality when you can see that there is nothing really to separate from it. Anything you look at explains this. And if you do this, I guess you'll see that you're one step closer for seeing it for what it really is. Like our favorite movie, The Truman Show, he believes his reality was real until he started seeing little by little how things don't really make sense. The problem with your experience is that your mind will make sense of everything and can make sense of everything. This is because the world you live in is experience operates in as if separation was very real without any real separation.
that were like centerfolds, these Noah bagels.
Yeah.
They were like blown up and they're fucking incredible. And you eat them, there's nothing, no taste. You know what I mean? But if you said, which one looks like the more desirable bagel, the Noah would win every time. But after the first bite, out the window. Out the window. This is what happens. This thing gives us this fucking fluffy, empty shit, and you're feeding off of it. Yeah. And you've got to a point that this is what you are, and now your choices are about this and that. But there's no choice here. We're just going back to before this. Yeah. We're not trying to get there by after this. We're not assigning it a primary role in the discovery of what it's not. We're not fucking relying on it at all. We're just going to bypass it as much as we can. Go to the source and see this ain't the source.
Negation. Shout out to Paul Heinemann and bitch slap. Non-duality isn't some intellectual concept you grasp. It's actually direct experience that you have, where you see that there's no separation of self and the outside world. I'm sure Wildman Ninja experienced that today. I'm happy you're doing well, man. He said he surfed today, so he's great. And Wildman Ninja thinking about the flow, the Tao, sacred secretion stuff floating in your mind. His mind, your mind. Alan Watts and stuff too. Haha. The self and the taboo of being against the self. I'm playing Nintendo Switch, a game called Animal Crossing. Got me stuck between simulations with simulations. It's fun as fuck. Yeah, I've been on my brother used to play that a lot. Animal Crossing, Animal Farms. That's a fun game. Simulation, the simulation of a simulation of a simulation of thoughts that go on forever, ideas that get pulled out of whack, but it's all simulation. But it's real enough, right? Salute to Uncle Guns. Salute to Uncle Guns. What's up, man? You can damn be sure that this consciousness exists. You can't even prove that there exists a physical world independent of consciousness. However, or that there's other consciousnesses. Therefore, this consciousness is the truth, and then everything else is just an assumption. What do you think about that? Put it in your pipe and smoke it.
You and I as the you and I, way before being ourselves reality. That's a fact that can echo no matter how many years have lived, no matter how many years have lived or ideas or situations, there's always this echo of the fact of being ourselves reality. Can't miss it, really, because you're completely in it. What happens, we get distracted from it. And it's not we miss it. We're so obsessed with this other thing, it acts as a missing of that. Just like the Course says. The act of denial of what you are is the firm in faith in this something else your head has made. Yeah. And so basically, satsang is just a way of hearing that first bell ring. Yeah. Yeah. And that bell has never been rung. It rings on its own. You don't need to be there in any certain garb or have the right hammer. It's just fucking ringing.
Yeah, non-duality points to the non-separation of the knower from the known. Non-duality, man. It's a trip. Hit the bottom of the rabbit hole. So there isn't you, the knower, knowing that there's non-duality, no duality. There's just simply immediate non-separation of any knowing from the knower or experience from what is immediately being experienced. Non-separation isn't an assertion that there's only one consciousness. This is non-separation of an entity from its own consciousness that can know anything but where awareness begins or ends, what it is or what it isn't. So finally, all is unknown. There's no knower apart to know what's happening. There's only the immediate of what's happening to itself. The words and ideas provided makes it seem that there's a knower of the words and concept, but no knower is found. There's words and concepts appearing, disappearing, just as with anything sense. There's only the arising of the sensing, no separation of the self on the knower. The knower. The knower. Same as a person looking into a mirror being smart enough to recognize it's only a reflection. However, in reality, the person is no different than the beaver or insect living in life. If you recognize that, then it enters non-duality territory. How do you know that there's no duality? This question is created by your mind. Your mind is nothing without thoughts. Take thoughts away and the mind doesn't exist. However, the mind doesn't exist. Awareness remains. It's what your thoughts pass across is the awareness, the sheet, the canvas, the holodeck. Everything comes from awareness since it's your true nature. You are aware without thoughts or the mind. That is why there's non-duality. Only the mind fed by thoughts creates this need for separation and duality. And by the way, the mind is not an enemy. However, it recognizes things that you need to recognize and take it for what it is. It's a great imaginative and creative tool, the most high-powered tool you could ever experience. However, it's not awareness. Awareness is there regardless of your thoughts or your mind. That's how I know there's no duality, for me anyway. Peace. opposition by recognizing the other's self-authority, or more specifically, divinity. The divinity being the 0 point God self, or genesis of the selfhood. The sin merely recognizes having moved away from that originating consciousness. It's the I. Speaking of Ramadan, what's up, Kings? Peace out to Kings. Subscribe. Fuck that. If you got that money, join the membership and become a real boss. And do yourself a favor. Kings, that's Forever Kings at Forever Kings. Magician Kings. Comment from King, Magician, Occult King in full effect. Get with the Book of Gabriel. Get lost in the ethers immediately. Getting lost in the ether. What's up, Kings? Good to see you, brother. It's immediately self-evident that you continually overlay a transparent conceptual layer into your immediate experience. This is what I call the reality of what's really going on. Or cloaking the reality of what's really going on. You're using labels and judgments and thoughts to segment the world into objects. So with the King's mindset, with Apex personal power, you can see even the quantum physics actually, not the woo-woo new age marketing. You can see how what's revealing that to us that there's not any actual boundary between what we experience as discrete objects. Is only a useful conceptual distinction that we perceive separate objects. But on a base level, there probably really isn't any. There's no separation. No separation. I don't know if you heard what I said. I said I fall back into these patterns. When I'm not living my daily life, I get caught up in the illusion, and then I come back to a non-dualistic understanding. I go back and forth in this thinking, and the the dualistic and non-dualistic Hegelian dialect are actually the same reality. It's just a matter of when I'm going to use it and what is the right time to use it. Because consciously, everything happens in season and time. There's a season for everything. So, comment from Kings: we see that the dark matter, while others are blind, that level of consciousness is only for the bold, and it's not even for average folks. You get it. I have to say, Kings, you being a peer, and you as a peer, you know, as well as you teaching me so much about this, and it takes the bold to take advantage of these opportunities and abundance that surround us. This so-called simulation has abundance everywhere, just like internally you have abundance in everything you do. There's numerous possibilities. Numerous possibilities.
Sometimes it's audible, almost sounds like, but it doesn't need anything. It's a constantly reverberating I am. Yeah. That now becomes that which you can rely on, because you are it. You don't even need to fall back into it. You are it. When you think you're going to fall back, you are it. And when you think you're not going to fall back, you are it. Thinking does not make it not so, nor does it make it so. It's a fact. Yeah.
It's a fact. I know. Let's make this clear that this is that making this duality hypothesis in simple terms, that this is a relationship in the universe that exists on many levels, non-duality. It involves many beings making up a one sharedness, a beingness, you can say. You can look at it from as many angles as you want, and there will still only be one path, non-duality. Non-duality can only be achieved spiritually, which just means breathing and being aware, by being somewhat selfless, meaning not getting trapped down in the concept of self, but just being in the motion of selfing yourself. Being selfless just means just being focused in your actions, because there won't be no I if you're constantly focused in your actions. Because non-duality was never meant to be taken as if you're supposed to be without a self. This is not the intention of the Most High, who called you into being consciously aware of yourself. You have to be honest about reality. You do exist. This is not a problem, this duality concept. There's not a problem with acknowledging the self. It's how self is used that is the reflection. There's not too much energy on circle talking yourself out of existence. A dog chasing its tail. You want to have a good start to your day and to your night or to your afternoon. Try being willing to accept the reality that you exist as a self-aware being, and that you're not meant to be the whole, all that is. You can pursue a consciousness or spirit that's wholeness, that's non-duality. That's the point of life, is just being focused in becoming a verb, selfing. You're selfing the action figure you call the I. This is all happening within the one. There will be no better teacher for the Western mind than Jesus is saying, when you say the world, you hear the world, and the words you hear are not my own. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah. What kind of foolish? I'm a different type of fool. Could you fool? Could you fool a fool? Could you fool a fool with a tool? What you do? What you do? What you do? What you do? If you do too, what I do? What I did? What I do? What I see? What I saw? What it do, nigga? What you do? Eat food for a gun jewel. School made another fool, nigga. School made another fool. School another fool. Make them use the rules. Make them use the new rule. Same things I'ma do to you, nigga. Do to you.
There's no better words, like I said, than the non-duality master, son of God, prophet of God, friend, Jesus, when he said the worlds and the words you hear are not my own. In this lies the key to non-duality, that through a self-aware being, you being a self-aware being that understands that he exists and he is part of a greater self that exists, which is not separate from him. And in him, living non-dualistic, to the degree he lives for all creation. The Most High speaks through him, you. It's time to be honest. Many of you can go much further with the words I'm sharing right now. You'll go much further if you accept a relationship with the one instead of trying to be the one. God is family, brother. The Most High is family.
Welcome to the AI Carnival of the Ages, where past and present collide in a retro-futuristic spectacle. Feast your eyes on the dazzling Earth computer, a floating orb that'll whisk you away to base reality. As you wander through our timeless attractions, marvel at the fusion of turn-of-the-century charm and cutting-edge innovation. Experience the magic of our multi-sense surprising delight for people of all ages. Plug into simulated realities with our domed VR fashionable headsets, immersing yourself in a myriad of captivating worlds within our different reality simulator observatories. And for a nostalgic touch, enjoy a ride on our authentic vintage Earth train, a testament to the wonders of bygone eras. Where imagination knows no bounds and memories are made to last a lifetime. So come along, plug in and tune out as you soar, spin, and plunge through lifetime.
Birth, non-duality experience begins. Death, duality experience begins. Is it the other way around if it makes more sense to you, makes you feel better, gives you peace of mind. Peace to my family out there in Taiwan and beyond, my blood family. Peace to Kings. Love you, player. Uncle Guns, thank you for coming by. Have a great day, night. Wild Man Ninja, keep it moving on your cruise. And everyone else,
thanks for stopping by. Yeah. Non-dual church. The church of be a good person, but be a dickhead. Yeah, simple, right? Simple. Easier than said than done. Easier said than done. Yeah, you guys can do it. Some of the smartest people I know out here, right? Some of the smartest people I know. Yo, shout out to everybody. Everybody. Oh yeah, let's zone out. Let's pimp off. I love this intro outro I made. It was a lot of fun as usual. So hopefully you get it. Destination Nowhere. Alkimos83 with the comment. Shout out to Bex at the house. Says okay with the comment. Either way you go, it's gonna be a circle. Yeah, you come up in a circle, double circle, infinity up consciousness, and down again to debrief, and then only to go up again for infinity. Shout out to our wonderful mod and friend Leopard Print. Great food for thought, NPC. Thank you, bro. Sis, I appreciate you sticking with me from the beginning. We're like, where's everybody? They came. You gotta warm it up. Shout out to my brother from another Shadow Buddha. Keeping it real. You don't like those people that are hypocrites. I'm telling you. Don't fuck around. NPC, my beloved sister, Special K. Love you all. Yeah, Glassy. Oh, I love it. Glassy's hermano. De nada. Comment. Special K, you're my friend. You're a real one, Gabe. Appreciate you. Appreciate you all. Yeah, I'm lucky, man. Oh, this is wonderful. This is my quote unquote day off, but it's so much fun, such a blessing to spend it with y'all. And if you feel like coming up sometime, come up. I'm gonna play this outro. And in the coming days, the Tom Platz intro is fire. Definitely. I appreciate you posting that on the Discord. Matter of fact, let me get that that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna get the damn link to the Discord. Shout out to your shout out. I keep saying shout out. This is for your hyperspace Discord tryout. We do have a Discord. It's not a big deal. You can join if you like. Try it out. Yep. So yeah, in the coming days, we'll see you next time here. Oh, thank you, Shadow. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. You're the man. I'm gonna tell you, actually talk. We're gonna do a post party in the Discord right now. So come by. Hit up the link. Tell me this shit ain't fire. I love you. Peace.
I'm the Wizard of Oz.
Shout out to Baby Gronk.
Can't be my friend if you really ain't it. I'm the Wizard of Oz. With a baddie and she know I'm him. I put it on, you know I came in trim. Rich on Snapchat, I got Libby on my DM. I got big racks, ain't never gonna end. Now I'm driving fast in the AMG Benz. You saw me drive past, now you calling your friend. You calling my phone, you want me, I know. You follow me around everywhere I go. Made up money, I'm a Sigma. Now they saying with the Sigma. Diamonds on my body since a year I've been froze. Take her to Miami, she's a long way from home. Different time zones on the flight that don't end. I got me an M, I'm gonna get it and get it. With a baddie and she know I'm him. I put it on, you know I came in trim. Rich on Snapchat, I got Libby on my DM. I got big racks, ain't never gonna end.
Alright, what y'all trying to get?
Make me what's wrong? You one of them rappers? What you got? You got a Rolex or something?
We got real young
Audio.
OGs black him out, talk some shit.
On 6 Mile, finna bust a quarter brick down. Ride through the hood with 3 guns and $26. They said some dumb shit out her mouth, slapped the spit out it. Middleman the 9 pieces off until the zip out it. 2200 for my pants, I got a drip problem. I've been toting guns since I was 12, I got a hip problem. They like, Rio, what you make off features? Probably $6. And distro kids sent 300 racks, I made a him problem.
I'm like real all bad hoes to the front, weak hoes to the back. Betty ain't no cap, step on these, I'ma overreact. Mask off, hawk a nigga down, letting you know that just that I'm really him. Like that type of nigga you smoking a pack. That big bitch will put you on the ground where gophers is at. Current load, I sent it to your bitch, niggas know where we at. Ain't no lag, they like 3Z3 really known for the strap. Go blow a bag, you bitch niggas is only just known for the
I
cap.
was probably chillin' in your bitch living room, smoking black. Hey, bro, that pint hit, that's why I sealed, don't open it. I got a whole baby on me right now, where's stroller? Oh, they shooting up cribs, we can play that game, where the controller? Touchdown, trying to book my own shows, where the promoters? Ashy hands from the bands, I'm bringing not wearing lotion back. Dumb nigga when trying to use his head, nice and hold. I pray to God them bitches don't pop the trunk, 200 bows in there.
Another one.
Oh yeah! Look at you! You was popping all that good shit a second ago, then you got kicked in your chest!
Audio.